Tomorrow, July 9th, South Sudan attains 8 years of independence since it seceded from Sudan in 2011 after decades of civil war. But despite the relative calm that's been in the country, especially since the signing of the fragile ceasefire and peace deal in September 2018 by warring party leaders, government in South Sudan says there are no plans to celebrate the anniversary of independence this year.
Attention continues to be focused on the 8th anniversary of the independence of Southern Sudan, a celebration marked by a climate of uncertainty and fear. The country has not yet recovered from years of civil war. Michael Makwei, the Minister of Communication, was interviewed by a correspondent in Juba. What analysis has the minister made on the progress of the country?
Well, as a country, as an independent country which is celebrating its 8th year of independence, I believe that South Sudan is progressing, and whatever had been happening is a normal thing. It's a normal thing that any independent country faces. There is no country in the world that got its independence and it went on just smoothly like that. This is a normal stage in which all the countries of the world passed through when they got their independence. So to us, this is a normal thing, and the situation is now back to normalcy, and South Sudan will emerge from all these difficulties soon and will take its place among the countries of the international community.
The minister also reacted to a recent UN report that mentioned the killings in the central region and blamed some government forces for the atrocities.
These organizations cannot, and we don't expect them to write anything positive about South Sudan. Because if they write anything positive, then definitely the international community which is funding them will say, okay, if the situation in South Sudan is normal, then there will be no need for you to continue there. In other words, if they write good reports about the progress being made in South Sudan, they will not be funded. And if they are not funded, they will lose their livelihood. These are people who have been writing all these reports simply in order to make their livelihood on the blood of the people of South Sudan. So all these things which are being written here and taken over there are reports which are not substantiated, reports which are written by individuals sitting in their hotels and writing all these reports in order to ensure that their funding continues. In other words, all these reports which have been written are all reports which are being replicated, and there is nothing as such. The situation now in Yerebar state is quite normal. As for if any atrocities being committed by those who are not signatory to the agreement, then it is not the government answerable for that. It is the opposition or the rebels who have not signed the agreement who may be committing such atrocities. And it is the duty of the UN and the other organizations and the so-called human rights to go to the opposition and ask them as to why are they committing these atrocities.
2 months ago, President Kiir talked about the difficulties of forming a new government, citing reasons like the disarmament and integration of various forces in the army. Any progress made since then?
Well, of course, the implementation of the agreement, and especially Chapter 2 of the agreement, which talks about the permanent ceasefire and transitional security arrangements, is the backbone of the revitalized agreement. And we did the extension of the agreement of the revitalized agreement. We extended it for 6 months because of the economic situation. Of course, the security arrangements means money. And at present, our economic situation, last time our economic situation was bad, and as such, the security arrangements could not be implemented in time. This time, we are exerting efforts, and we are optimistic that the government will give us the required amounts next week. Once we get this money, definitely all the opposition forces which are now in their assembly areas will be required to move to the cantonment sites where they will be screened, they will be organized and trained. So we are now left with about 4 months, and 4 months is sufficient. It is enough for us to organize the opposition and the government forces so that we enter, so that the RT Gono is established in time.